Hello, welcome to this webinar on discovering Zanzibar with CPS Africa. It's very exciting to talk about a new exotic destination that we don't usually do on Place in the Sun. So I'm Liz Rowlinson, editor of the website, and I'm going to introduce my panelists who are going to give you a great lowdown on tourism and investment in Zanzibar. First up, Sebastian, good morning.
Good morning, Liz. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You are CEO of CPS Africa, correct?
That is correct. Yes, I'm CEO of CPS Africa, based here in Zanzibar on this beautiful island.
Brilliant, thank you. Taleeb, Jussab, sorry, I might mispronounce your name.
No, it's correct. It's correct. It's Taleeb Jussab. So you're absolutely spot on.
Brilliant. And you're the executive board member of Zanzibar Association of Tourism Investors.
Yes, and legal advisor as well, because I'm a legal practitioner first, and then I'm on the board as well.
Thank you. And Clara Wella, good morning. You're the lawyer and notary public at Kandor Wakiti Attorneys.
Yes, 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 Liz. I am a practicing lawyer in Zanzibar, and I do also practice in Tanzania mainland.
Great. Well, that's a good point. For anyone who doesn't know, Zanzibar is part of Tanzania in East Africa. It's a beautiful archipelago of about, is it 11 islands, I'm thinking?
Zanzibar?
Yes.
Two main islands, Unguja and Pemba. Unguja is the one that everybody sees as Zanzibar, and then we have a sister island, pretty much the same size, which is called Pemba, and it's very undiscovered still. It's a very beautiful place.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful place. I know I've not had the luck to go, but it's also a good place to invest. And this is what we're here to talk about today. So without further ado, we're going to cover a lot of useful material, I hope, and introduce the destination to you. So, Sebastian, would you like to kick off and tell us more about Zanzibar?
Absolutely, I'd love to do that. Zanzibar is a very exciting place, and it's a very special place. I can talk for hours about Zanzibar because we love it so much. I grew up in Tanzania, and Tanzania is called Tanzania as a united republic between Tanganyika and Zanzibar. 1964, Tanzania became independent and joined with Zanzibar, with that island, to become Tanzania. And Zanzibar, since then, is a semi-autonomous part of the United Republic of Tanzania. We have our own president, we have our own ministers, we have our own government. We have a union with the Tanzanian mainland, which is a beautiful, large country, pretty much 3 times the size, I think, of the UK. That is full of wildlife and exciting places like Kilimanjaro. And so Zanzibar is just outside of that. And a semi-autonomous island, a state with our own president, Dr. Winnie at the moment, and it's growing extremely fast in numbers of tourism and also in investment opportunities over the past now nearly 20, 30 years. A lot of growth has happened. We know the island since, I know the island since 2000, when I first came here with my wife on honeymoon. It was exciting. At that time, Zanzibar looked quite different, and there has been massive development in the meantime. And now we're here back again as a company since 2011, developing this beautiful town that we're going to talk more about in a moment, and creating fantastic investment opportunities in real estate in this beautiful tropical island. Zanzibar has a very long and diverse history. Zanzibar is a place where cultures are coming together. It's a place of people with different backgrounds, religious backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, live in harmony together since hundreds of years. It is very, very special. We are predominantly a Muslim island, but everything is tolerated, and this is a very, very core and important principle of the government and the people of Zanzibar, that they celebrate diversity. And I think this makes it a very special place, and also Taleeb will tell us more maybe later about that, why tourists are so attracted and tourism investors are so attracted, because it's an extremely safe destination. It's very, very beautiful, has massive growth opportunity. We have stunning beaches, right? It's a stunning beach life, but we have much more than that. We have Stone Town as the old town of Zanzibar town, with a World Heritage Site with beautiful old Moorish architecture. Zanzibar used to be one of the richest places in Africa. We had 10% of Africa's GDP. Zanzibar had electrical streetlights before London had them. So it was extremely advanced. Since 1860, we had a direct telegram cable from the post office in Zanzibar to the post office in London. So there has been a very strong connection over centuries between Zanzibar and especially the UK, England and United Kingdom, which has been basically a protectorate of Zanzibar in the past. And still today, there's a lot of connections. And so it is a very exciting place to discover. From spices, it's also called the Spice Island. We have a lot of spices growing, many people coming, they're going for a spice tour. We have amazing fruits. We have beautiful craftsmanship. When you walk through Stone Town, you'll see that these old urban Indian doors that we have. And most importantly, it's amazing people living here and growing here and doing business here. And now attracting people again from around the world. History really repeats. Diversity is continuously still growing. And Fumba Town, the development we're talking about today, and investment opportunity is a key example for that.
Wow, thank you. I've learned so much there, and I definitely want to jump on a flight. I think it's about a 12-hour flight from the UK to Zanzibar, is it?
I've never done a direct flight from the UK, but I think it's 212 is a bit long. I pretty much, you know, we're from here in Istanbul in around 7 hours. And Istanbul, London, I think is another 3 hours, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I think it's between 10 hours, 9 to 10 hours flight. If there would be a direct flight, we are really pushing British Airways. They used to fly directly. There's a lot of international flights from Zanzibar. You can leave here at 1 o'clock at night and you can have your baguettes in Paris in the morning at 8, right? There's direct flights to Paris. There's a lot of direct flights to many European destinations. And we're very certain, as today, UK is still being the strongest investment and investor partner in Tanzania and Zanzibar, that will soon have, again, direct flights directly to the UK.
Brilliant. Yeah, as you say, it used to be a very popular honeymoon destination for British people, but it sounds like we need to get it back on our radar. So thank you very much for that. So we're going to move on to Fumba specifically, which is where a lot of your projects are. Can you tell us about that, Sebastian?
Yes, so Fumba is a very unique development. It originates basically with the idea together from our company and the government of Zanzibar to develop a supporting town for Zanzibar town. Like in many places of the world, modern and comfortable living space that is affordable to people is very rare. We see that in many places in the developed world, in the UK, in Germany, in the US, but also that we have the same problem also here in Africa and in Tanzania and also in Zanzibar. Population is growing. Our GDP is growing with more than 7% in Zanzibar, outperforming many other locations in Africa at the moment. So also in terms of investment, we have a very strong, fast-growing economy. And we need places for people to live. That's how simple it is. And so when we started the project, we said we need to make this project as a supporting town. We purchased a beautiful piece of land here. We're on a 600,000 square meter plot stretching along a 1.5 kilometer beautiful seafront facing the west, stunning sunset. If you come ever this year, I'm going to show you stunning sunsets in the evening, really, really beautiful. Just 20 minutes from the international airport of Zanzibar, 20 minutes to this World Heritage Site of Stone Town, and maybe 40 minutes to the beautiful beaches of the East Coast and the North Coast. An absolutely fantastic location, designed really as a town. And this has made it so exciting, and why now we have clients and people from more than 60 countries who have invested here already. We have more than 1,500 investors already, people who bought properties in Fumba Town from around the world, because investing in a new growing city or town from scratch is, in terms of real estate investment, a unique opportunity. I wish I would have bought properties in certain areas in London, in Berlin, in Brooklyn 20, 30 years ago, right? And if you remember that opportunity, so very different to a pure, let's say, beach resort or beach estate. This is a town development. It has that beach feeling, being in Zanzibar, beautiful on the seafront, and but it is also a town. We have a university settling in. We have tech businesses coming here. We have people living here. I was invited for barbecue last week in town, just by accident. I had people from 12 different nations sitting on the table. It is so beautiful and it's so exciting. And the growth potential as an investor into a town, investing into a town at an early point in an area where the economy is growing super fast, tourism is growing super fast, and Africa, anyway, the place that my daughter studies architecture at the UCL at Bartlett in London, and the professors are telling them from the beginning, you can study architecture here, but no, your jobs will be in Africa, because that's where the construction will happen over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So Zanzibar brings all this together, and Fumba Town does that within Zanzibar, an opportunity to invest in a beautiful market, in a safe place that is extremely beautiful. People go on holiday, where you could have your second home, invest in real estate in an environment that just grows and it's just exploding. And it's just, yeah, I'm very passionate about this. So it's really a fantastic opportunity, and I'm happy that we can share this with you today and your audience, Liz.
Yes, it's very unique because it's a mixture of local, vibrant, living town, but also tourism as well. It's yes. That's where it differs from a lot of projects. Well, look, let's have a look at a little video of Fumba Town so people can see exactly what you're talking about. Absolutely. We're going to talk about the purchasing process of buying a property in Zanzibar. Clara, over to you. So can I ask you, could you tell me what are the steps briefly about if a British person or such as or non-Zanzibar person wanted to buy a property, please?
Thank you, Liz, for the question. Yes, certainly. So basically, based on the current legal framework in Zanzibar, prior to signing the purchase contract for the property, let's say if it's a land and developed land, there is a due diligence which we highly encourage for our client to do, whereby you verify the ownership of the person who is selling to you if you're not buying directly from a project like Fumba. So there's a due diligence and whereby you verify the ownership, and if there's any encumbrances, if there's any issue relating to that specific property, that's the time where you discover all those issues to sort it out, or rather to reflect them into the contract with the seller. Once that is clear at the first step, then the second step will be basically the contractual, drafting of the contractual documentations, signing and executing. And then once the contractual step is finalized, then the last step is basically doing the transferring your title, the title from the seller to the person who is currently buying, basically going through the land ministry, the commission of land, or this government agency whereby you require approval prior to you receiving the final title. That's basically how the purchase looks if you are purchasing a property. outside of a real estate project. But if you are purchasing a property within Fumba, the procedure is quite straightforward because the project is registered with the regulatory authority, and it's very easy to verify. It's a matter of a day verification. So it's straightforward, whereby I think Mr. Sebastian can explain a little bit more. It's very simplified, just a contractual base. You receive a contract, you go through and agree in terms of the terms, if there's any negotiation you wish to have with the developer, and once that is done, basically you sign, and the procedure move on from there onward. The reason why I'm saying it's simplified because for the real estate project which are registered and fully recognized as Fumba from the Minister of Land, Condominium Department, and the Investment Authority Department, the title ownership is also very fast-tracked because of this being a real estate project. So it's much more simpler than independently buying from villages or local persons.
Okay, and is that freehold title?
So as per the land law in Zanzibar, there are 3 titles of ownership. There is a leasehold, which is granted for foreigners, and of course there is a right of occupancy. This is only for Zanzibari, and there is a grant which this is only for farming related activity. So if a foreigner, let's say it's a British person who wish to own a property buying from Fumba or from somewhere else, at the end of the day they will have a certificate of title as a leasehold, long-term leasehold from the government.
Great, thank you. And what about, is Zanzibar offering any incentives for foreigners to buy in terms of tax or discounts?
Yes, there's a number of incentives offered by the government for individuals who are buying property from strategic investment project like Fumba Town.
Mm-hmm.
As per the investment law, as it stands as today, people who are buying from this project, they do get resident permit for the purchaser and his or her family, and 4 children who are under 20 years. And also their tax, there's a number of tax incentive, one being 50% on capital gain tax if they decide to resell the property to somebody else.
Great, thank you for that. Okay, we're going to talk about talking about returns and tourism next. Taleeb, I think I'm right in thinking that tourism, I think I read that tourism in Zanzibar was up about 62% last year. I mean, it's doing very well.
Yes.
You can confirm that for me, but could you tell us Zanzibar as a sort of an upcoming investment destination on the back of this tourism?
Yes. Just like an overall overview, from a real estate point of view, the GDP has grown consistently for 5%, and likewise, tourism has as well grown. One notable example would be the comparison of the numbers that we had from 2022 if you compare to 2023. So as of December 2022, we had about 300,000 tourists. And then December 2023, we had 600,000 tourists. So you can see that the growth has been quite exponential as well. And with the growth in tourism, it also means the growth in real estate, the growth in all other supporting industries that are normally part of the value chain. The reason tourism plays a big role in all of this is because it forms about 40% of the annual GDP, and as well as more than 80% of the national budget. So it is quite an integral part of the system. So the numbers are looking great. There's been a 16% increase as compared to the previous year. And if you compare that to a decade ago, when we had about roughly a decade ago, this was when we had about 100,000 tourists. So there was a 200% increase within a decade, which was never achieved in the previous decades. So, but with all of that also comes with other needs, as Sebastian mentioned, infrastructure, Wi-Fi, and all of that. So tourism plays as the main driver of the ecosystem here, but it is supporting and also feeding all the other value chains that supply and all of that as well.
Great. Thank you. So, and can you give me a flavor of the tourism sector? You know, sort of hotels, villas. What is the, if I come to Zanzibar, what am I going to find?
So basically, there is a bit of everything for everybody, for the backpacker all the way to the very high end. And the idea is that to also have a balance of mass tourism and low-cost, high-value tourism. So you're going to get all the little lodges that are even less than a star. And then you're going to get the 1 stars, the 2 stars, the 4 stars, all the way to 5 and up to 7 stars. And in addition to that, all these businesses also have supporting tourism businesses that are attached to the hotels. So be it water sports, any other type of sports, yoga and well-being, and all these other things that form part of the tourism package itself, as well as the sightseeing that comes with the package of Zanzibar. As Sebastian mentioned, that we don't have to do too much marketing to a certain extent, because Zanzibar has that privilege of being so unique that on its own seems to bring a lot of people. So it comes. So that's the heritage part of it. There is the spice tours. They are the cultural experiences where you get to live with the locals and appreciate their life. So there is quite a wide range of things for everybody, the young and the older, and everything in between, pretty much.
Great. You mentioned the initiatives for sort of all aspects of strands of the tourism industry, but are there any other current developments in the public or private sector, for instance, green tourism, infrastructure development?
Yes. One of the main initiatives that, because obviously the government is a partner, so we're always discussing these things with them. And one of the key issues that is always on as every investor would like is the ease of doing business, in a sense. So some of the main key issues that we're always discussing, and we're happy to see some steps and initiatives there, would be the installation of fiber optic cables, for instance, that is coming from Mombasa. That should be able to deal with some of the issues. So this is a great initiative as well for high-speed internet. And as well as one of my colleagues mentioned, that Zanzibar is also positioning itself as a center for all this digital transformation as well. So tech is also coming into the picture. In addition to that, there is utilities and energy. So we're going to have a new grid of electricity to cover this high demand that I just mentioned. Because the high volume of tourism that we expect, it means that the more pressure we're going to have on our resources as well. So there is a need of also making sure that we strike a balance in that regard. And in addition to that, the environment as well, that this is our main asset here. So we have to actually protect the main asset itself, which is the coastal area, the marine life, which brings us to all these other initiatives that the government has taken. One of them is the sustainable tourism declaration as well. And one of them is the blue economy, which is being pushed quite hard by the government, so that we exploit the most from our resources, but at the same time taking care of it. So these are amongst just a few initiatives that I could mention from the top, but they are a wide range of this sort of initiatives that help investors and the ease of doing business overall, which in turn goes directly to the tourists themselves.
Thank you. My final question for you, Taleeb, is, how does the real estate sector play into all this?
So basically, before, and I'm sure Clara has experienced it, tourists would come, as Sebastian mentioned, tourists would come. It's a lovely place, and they'll be like, I want to purchase this property. Then from that point on, then the tourism is not just those people that come during the holiday seasons. Then we also have investors that can come on certain times. So these are people that are going to build some buildings, like for instance, the Fumba projects, where like a holiday home, for example, or an actual home that they would live in. So instead of over relying in one sector of the tourism, we can have all those multiple, a diversity of ranges. It also helps in the sustainability of the model itself, so that we're not really relying on one particular thing. And this brings me to one interesting factor where that there's Zanzibar is so lucky that a lot of the tourists are coming, and also we're always getting very much new tourists rather than tourists that are coming again. So which means that there is an opportunity there to bring in more activities for tourists to revisit that. So this brings sports tourism, wellness tourism, cultural tourism, and all of that.
Great. Gosh, there's so much happening that I've learned. There's clearly a lot of very cutting edge strategy and development happening in Zanzibar. So thank you for that. Sebastian, I mean, would you like to sort of kind of almost conclude and wrap up in terms of all the interesting information we've heard for people listening?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. Now we're excited to share this news. Of course, you see that in a very short period of time, it's very hard to cover everything that Zanzibar can offer. What I can summarize is basically, you know, one important thing Taleeb maybe didn't mention, that Zanzibar is one of the hotspots for kiting, for instance, at the moment, right? The Paja beaches, very, very hot. We have world-class diving facilities and areas. There's a lot to discover. I think for everyone who wants to discover something exciting new with a great investment opportunity and possibility, that is Zanzibar. Come and visit us. The government, we as developers, the tourism sector, we have very open arms for everyone who wants to come and explore and see the island. You will love meeting the people of Zanzibar, smell the beautiful spices around on the markets, see all these fantastic fruits, and experience the diversity that is actually really being lived here. People live in respect for each other. And that makes it a very special place. And that combined to me being very safe, extremely beautiful, well connected. And for investors, this is an opportunity still at a very early stage. This island has just started to explode in tourism sector, in real estate, in many other supporting sectors. There are a lot of opportunities. Come and visit us, and I'm guaranteeing you will love this.
Thank you. I have a couple of quick questions, if I may, Sebastian, just from bearing in mind that who I know the audience might be. What sort of international people generally have invested in Zanzibar so far, or is it just a very new thing?
No, and I can talk primarily for the tourism sector. I think is primarily Italian, British, German, French at the moment. I think these are the biggest investor groups in terms of tourism. We have Turkish developments now. We have developments from the Middle East. It's very diverse, but it's very, very European, strong European in terms of the tourism. In Fumba, as investors in housing, what we see, our strongest numbers, of course, are Tanzanians, but very closely followed by investors from the US, UK, and Germany. So these are our 4 strongest markets. And of course, also people from the Middle East, especially from Oman, because historically, if you look into Zanzibar, used to be part of the Sultanate many years ago. So there's a strong historical connection to the Middle East, and this connection is still today there. We're saying every Zanzibari also has a family in Oman. I think that is pretty much true. So it is, we are extremely connected. So we're very much connected to our mothership, which is Tanzanian mainland, right? There's this very strong union with Tanzania, and there's a strong mix and a strong connection also to the, especially to Oman and Middle East. But in investment-wise, we are very, very connected to Europe, to UK, especially historically, but also to France and Germany, and now a lot of investors also from the US exploring the opportunity of living in a beautiful, safe home. And it really, Liz, maybe just adding that what really has changed that also is that I think that's something that we've experienced globally, that during the pandemic, people were looking for places to live, and we were learning how to work online, working from abroad, working from home, working from many different places. So people have really started to look at, where can I work in a nice place where I'm safe, I have internet, I can go kiting when the wind is nice, and if there's no wind, I can code. So we have attracted, Zanzibar has attracted a lot of people living and working here while experiencing this beautiful nature and this beautiful environment in which we are. So it's a great opportunity for people from around the world. And yes, everyone in Britain is warmly welcome. We're excited to meet you all and show you this beautiful island. We can't wait.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it is very much sort of the center of the world, and in terms of it's opened up. So many people will now go and live and work in all these interesting exotic places. So thank you very much. How would, if people have been very excited to hear what you're saying, how do they get in contact with you? What are the next steps?
I don't know when you're going to show this, but we're going to be at the Place in the Sun in London from the 3rd to the 5th. So definitely come and see us there. We're, of course, working together with the Place in the Sun. You find all our information on the website. And of course, you can directly contact us on www.fumba.town if you want to get in touch with us. But please feel free to just go and find all your contact information on the Place of the Sun. Contact us, and one of our team will definitely be in contact directly with you personally and guiding you on this journey, sending you information, guiding you to find the best investment opportunity for you. And
Thank
then
you. Great.
that we welcome you in person here in Zanzibar, in beautiful Fumba Town.
It sounds a very tempting proposition. Thank you so much, Sebastian, and thank you, Clara. Thank you, Taleeb. If anyone else has got anything to add to close up.
Yeah, I would just add on top of what Ms. Sebastian have mentioned, apart from Zanzibar being vibrant with the culture and the local community, also the legal framework in Zanzibar, it's really protect the investment, which makes Zanzibar very safe to invest. So it's better to early consider your investment in Zanzibar.
Great, thank you so much. Okay,
Thank you.
We've fit a lot of information in there. Hope it's been useful. Thank you very much again, the three of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.